So, we've covered the introductions in episode 1 of the creative process, where we introduced ourselves, who or what inspired us, and what content we make. This episode can start with the following statement if you like. Okay, I really liked what that artist slash filmmaker slash YouTuber etc. was doing. I want to make something or make something like that. Where do I start? How do I start? And from that point on, how do I keep motivated and see something through to its completion? Let's talk to the 7 other creative personas a second time and see how they work on the things they make. Welcome one and all to episode 2 of the creative process.
I really don't have a creative process. The first choice is the topic. You've got to. I don't believe. I've heard other people saying that if you're going to run a YouTube channel, if you're going to be successful. Now, what's successful? Successful to me is when someone says, "I enjoyed that. You did a good job." That's success. That is a buzz that keeps you ticking over. Some people, they quantify success as making an income. YouTube is not a career choice, and all the people I've seen who have made it a career choice unanimously have said it's an awful one. So success would mean 1,000 subscribers and being monetized and having enough ad revenue to pay your wages. But as I've yet to find a YouTube channel that says they're happy and satisfied, that everything's a drama. When the big channels get to that point, it just becomes so pessimistic and cynical, and I can be even more pessimistic and cynical than they ever could. So that's not success. That's just a burden of self-expectation. So I keep motivated by deciding there's a topic that I want to record my thoughts on. And I suppose that's what this is. I start with a topic. I don't start by going, what's my YouTube video next week? It's nice, it's a good ambition to have something every week, and I tried it, and for nearly a year I managed it. But no, regularity is good because it means people can expect stuff, but if you don't have anything to say, you should just shut up. But topic 1, how do I start? I decide on a topic. I say, this is the thing I want to talk about, this is what I want to celebrate, this is the topic of conversation I'd like to raise. And if I don't have anything to say, I wouldn't make a video. I have no motivation. But once you've got the topic, you need a script, or if you don't have a script, you need some bullet points. What do you want to say? Because there is absolutely nothing worse. I've done unscripted videos. I actually like unscripted videos. But then the moment you've pressed record and finished, you're just sitting there going, oh God, why didn't I say that? I wish I'd said that. So scripts, great. Or at least bullet points of remember to say this, remember to say that, remember that. And then just start doing it. You're recording the audio, touching up the audio, editing the video. It's therapeutic in a way. I like the process of creation. I like just throwing things onto a screen, moving them around and see how they align. I find it challenging and I find it rewarding, but if you do it too much, you burn out and you just lose that. The trick is experimentation. If it stops being fun, you just have to walk away for a while, which is why this would be an awful career choice.
Talking about the creative process here, Hebs talks more about the scripted video versus the non-scripted video. When playing or beating a game, nothing can be more exhilarating than talking in front of that microphone about the experience and then filter the thoughts, do the editing, etc. Feedback is also a great motivator to keep going and improve. Believe me, comments have said that hopefully Viddy, will make more videos.
So the way I start doing my creative process is I write down all the ideas of what I want to do content-wise, be it talking about a certain topic or going to a certain place and do some filming there, and then I kind of do like a mind map of what time I can do it. So like for instance, location-based filming that I do is often at like conventions and stuff, so there's obviously a set date of when that's going to happen. So I kind of schedule in when I'm going to be, how long I'm going to be there, if I'm going to meet anyone, and just a few topics of what I want to cover while I'm there. Whilst the other stuff, I kind of like fill in that void of doing like videos at home, or if there's an interview, I slip in that interview during those gaps while I was waiting to do a location-based thing, just to get a bit of consistency, which is a bit of a joke because last year I only made like 7 videos. So yeah, I need to get better at that. But you know, that's the kind of the processes I do of like schedule it out. Certain videos I try to write a script or at least have some bullet points. If I'm doing an interview, I just write up notes of questions I want to ask and then try to feel the flow of the conversation of when to prompt that question, see if it'll connect up to anything else. And then same with the location-based stuff, to see how many great shots I can find of those different places. And then creative process regarding voice acting, again, it's just seeing what people are looking for and try and match the voice with the character they're looking for and such, and just get the feedback off there and just have fun with it, I guess is the main takeaway.
I start the process really with an idea that pops into my head, be it a story I want to tell or a statement I want to make, or both. Specifically talking about reviews, I look at old and new games that pique my interest. Sometimes it's simply because at this point I know there are people who want to know what I think about a brand new AAA title. And this sometimes leads to me looking at older games that came before that title for context, which was why I reviewed the first Pikmin game after ignoring the franchise for years. It was to get background for the upcoming Pikmin 4. So really it's half what I want to see for myself and talk about, and half what the audience wants to see more of, like reviews of LEGO games. My audience seems to love when I talk about LEGO games, so this year I'm talking about more.
Let's look at the Fumbo's response here. Mistakes. Yep, we all make them. Sometimes I will look at my past content and notice mistakes or an unprofessional quality. Hopefully we get better. I also agree about routine. I kind of wish I could assign blocks during the day for content creation, but I'll come back to that at the end of this video. I know the feeling of staring at an empty canvas and thinking of, oh no, what do I do? Oh, will people like this? Etc. But yeah, just randomly typing up the thoughts and then reading it, editing it, filtering it, something just clicks. Unscripted stuff, I agree, can be scary, but maybe that's just my preference for scripted content. If a first draft or first take or first edit is not good at first, don't worry, you'll get better at it. Editing pictures/video and audio is something that is done bit by bit, and it's a nice feeling that it all syncs, clicks, and flows. I agree about improving or experimenting with streaming channels. I personally found it hard technically, but maybe at the moment that is getting better. If it's all about feedback and wanting to improve or experiment, just hopefully you don't burn yourself out. If you do have other interests or hobbies, then that at least allows for variety and momentum in one's daily life.
Number 2 is asked, how do you start or begin the creative process and keep motivated? A lot of times this comes from a memory. For me, at least it does. Maybe it's a childhood memory, or I have a conversation with one of my friends. Most of my friends have been showcased in videos on my channel, so it's usually with one of them. My brother was a longtime partner on the channel during its early days in creation and inception, but there are episodes like The Lion King, The Oregon Trail, and Halo where other friends that have been a long-time process or a long-time essential part to the process have also been involved. And they'll text me, or they'll call me, or we'll have a conversation, and they'll say something like, hey, do you remember when we were younger and this, and this happened? Or this, and this, you know, do you remember, you know, being a teenager and playing the heck out of this, and this game? Staying up until 4 in the morning and you know, that kind of stuff. Or do you remember when we were in college and this, and this, that kind of stuff. And then that memory will lead me to want to try and create a video, or at least bring awareness to that game that gave me that experience, in hopes that somebody else will pick up that game and have their own and make their own experiences with it that are so impactful that 20 years later they're doing something like this, where they're getting to share that happy moment or that funny moment with other people. I think from mine, if I were going to pull an example, a couple of those videos would be simple videos like the Street 2 video, which is really early on my channel. That was a game that we played tirelessly, just endlessly, creating our own team, upgrading, customizing, and it's a really, my brother and my friend Aaron, who were playing that with me, it's a really just big conversation starter, and something to this day that we still have such a fond memory of and a fun memory of. And so this is kind of my motivation, is to kind of put something out there that either, again, for posterity gives me that nostalgia, or puts it out there for someone else to create their memory, their nostalgia from.
Tiger Chainsaw's process here certainly is about thinking more about the idea for a while, and sometimes it needs time to be done right, or done when more comfortable about it. One way to keep motivated is to remember, paraphrasing quote, "We only have one life. We have such a small segment of time on Earth, and we should make the most of it, whether it's creative outlets, personal life, or career. We should strive for greatness in all aspects, because the fear of being ordinary can be scary." Oh my goodness, we are mortals, wanting to connect and share our passions and ideas. I always found this was going to be the most interesting or open-ended question for me, especially after looking at the responses. I'll explain. Usually when an idea comes to me, whether it's a game or gaming topic I want to talk about, I really like it. Like, I really want to talk about it, and some of the time it just stops there. And sometimes that's okay, or at least I have to accept that it is. The idea can be revisited or not. I'm sure I'm not the only one who has had ideas in the past that ever left the brain and end up on the page, on a piece of software, on a screen, or spoken in front of a microphone. I usually find the script writing the easiest process, because once I start typing up the idea, whether it's a review or a memory or something, a bunch of dot points or words just form, and I just then make the words and phrases as coherent or understandable as possible, especially when showing the script to someone else. I also partially do that for the purpose of adding closed captions to as many of my videos as possible, because I found it tedious to put CC in my unscripted videos, such as one where I may have given my first impressions of a game right after starting to play with it. And speaking of tedium, well, sometimes that is the thing one has to go through with each process. Cutting out for pauses and unnecessary noise and mistakes while adding effects to a voiceover, such as compression and EQ, can be tedious. But hopefully a good voiceover to put under visuals is the result. With the visuals, I have started recently trying to log my footage. I noticed when I started reviewing the Kingdom Hearts games that I needed to fast forward through my footage and write out key points to put into a review, such as an out of the ordinary situation. I especially needed this for Persona 5, as I had close to 100 hours of footage, and if I wanted to talk about so much as a Persona fusion or a confidant conversation, I knew where to find it, and then back it up with the near countless other pieces of gaming footage I recorded. Once I get to the editing software, I just put in a little footage and so on to make sure I've got the resolution and frame rate right, then and only then do I do an audio mix first. I think I heard Resonant Art do this with their Final Fantasy reviews, and it shows in the juxtaposition of music and dialogue. Then I add the visuals. Even with the footage logs, it is easy to say that finding the moments is the hardest part, as sometimes you may have missed something and you have to spend quite a bit of time looking for it. Or once you've even done all the previous steps, you get tired and don't want to even finish the video. I'll talk more about the finishing of videos in the next episode. Talking about my own process here has been a great rediscovery. Though motivation is what I struggle with. Listening to music, watching my inspirations, playing a game sometimes can help. Though not always, again, we'll talk about this next episode. Filmmaking is where I can go more abstract, where I want to think more about ideas that wouldn't be out of place in a David Lynch film. I'll also talk very briefly about the film-making process, going back to my projects as a teenager and currently in Bug Hug Studios, which is about the script and storyboarding of the idea, then a complicated filming and editing process. In Bug Hug Studios, we cannot catch up all the time to make videos, so we cannot upload regularly. But then again, should we? And by we, I'm also referring to everyone else here and you there watching. As a friend remembers talks about, the pressure to be professional and upload regularly probably came about not just with the aforementioned inspirations, but with the way to make the videos look more appealing so you could gradually get to a point where doing YouTube or something similar becomes a career. And while I've wondered if I should do this as a career, I think without at least one other person or a team helping me through the processes, I would burn out and miss out on a routine. I agree with the Fun Bros again that having a routine is nice and something to strive for, but sometimes it is best to make something when you're in the zone. Your audience can wait. I did have more of a routine when I had part-time work and could leave my computer on with a Viddy plays upload on a slow upload speed back then, but that's in the past. And since then, I've learned through audience feedback and just creating stuff as best I can. I really liked seeing this episode what we all do when coming up with an idea or what we do with that idea. But what about you? Whether you participate in this collab or not, it doesn't matter. You can talk about how you do the creative process or what you thought of the processes mentioned here in the comments section below. Or alternatively, and this is mainly for those of you who took an interest but didn't have time or something or are, say, in midst of starting a new channel, you can still message your answers to me and I'll feature them in a more simple extra video. But I, Viddy, and these 7 other creative personas are now halfway done with 2 more questions remaining. Now I'd normally say, see you next week, but you'll have to wait an additional week because of the Zelda Charity Marathon streams. I hope and promise that the streams and episode 3 will be rewarding. Look at question 3 for what I mean by that. Have a good day or night or whatever it is. Now get out there and be creative.